Good afternoon. Just making sure my phone is secure. It is almost 4:30 and Fun Friday will start. Going to look for, oops, knocking things over on my desk. Let me look for, let's see if I can find myself on here. There we go. All right. Hello, Tammy. How are you? There we go. Close that. I'm going to have to play with this a little bit more one of these days and get it so everything is not crooked, because I feel like everything's crooked. And I don't know. I'm one of those kind of people. Sometimes it bothers me, sometimes it doesn't. So anyway, welcome to Fun Friday with Stampin' with Jen. I am a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator out of East Contra, Costa County. So about an hour and a half or so from San Francisco, I think, depending on traffic. And sort of halfway between San Francisco and Sacramento as the freeways go. So anyway, we have a great afternoon. I got a great couple of cards we're going to make. We're going to make some using the Sweet Days of Autumn, which is a new DSP, and I wish I had my Stampin' Up! Scrapping brochure, but I don't. Hi, Patty, welcome. I think I left it in another room, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to run and look for it right now. But this is our Sweet Days of Autumn, and as part of the Sweet Days of Autumn scrapbooking kit, but you can also buy the DSP separately. And so we're going to make a couple cards. Let me show you first about the patterns that we have on this. This DSP, you get 12 sheets of paper. There's actually 6 patterns, and you get 4, and so that means there's 3 different kinds of sheets because the paper is double-sided. And you get 4 of each kind. So you get 4 of this great pattern here with the olive green, and this Cajun Craze, which has like little tiny lines, like could be the veins of leaves, which is really cool. I'm going to be using this one and the other one actually. You get this one. Oh, this is sideways. We're going to turn it this way. And I love the trees on this in the different fall colors. And you get this on one side, and you get this great, I don't know, crosshatch or just grid, but it's not a straight grid. It's sort of a funky grid paper. And I think this is what would be more of a pecan pie color. And this is early espresso with, it looks like granny apple green, Cajun Craze, crushed curry, might be petal, let's see, petal pink. Let me look and see. Yeah, petal pink, old olive, and mossy meadow are on these as well. I was just looking at my packet that has all the colors that it coordinates in on the back. So and then that's one, and then this one is what got me. This is so cute, and this one is one of those fun papers. There's no right way. I know usually papers with the animals on it are directional, but these animals are helter-skelter all over. But you've got this great little fox and deer and bear and owl and porcupine and bird. Let's see what else is on there. I think that's about it. I mean, you've got the maple leaves and the acorn tree leaves. And then you've got this, which is definitely directional, which is some great leaves. I love these trees. So we're going to be doing something with these and a couple of the other papers. So I just love the patterns on this. This is one of my most favorite fall patterns. I love the splendid autumn that we have in the mini, but this by far is my favorite one. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make this one first, and we're going to use crushed curry. Let me show you the 2 sketches. I highly believe in not creating the wheel if you don't have to, and I love using other people's sketches. So I'll show you the 2 sketches that we're going to do, and I'll show you who I got the sketches from. This one is a sketch from Terry Gaines, a fellow demonstrator. I don't know where she's at. but she's a fellow demonstrator. I've used a lot of her stuff. Matter of fact, if you remember, and if you go back to my YouTube channel at some point and you go down, one of the first videos I put on there is a treat box that has a fold over box. It's square and you can fit a couple of fun snack size candies in them. And it's Terry Gaines who I got that from, I believe. And then the other one is from somebody we know as the Stamp Doc is what she goes by, but her name is Melissa Stout. I'm going to use this pattern as well, but I'm putting this, I'm turning it so it's going to be horizontal and up versus vertical. So we're going to switch it up just a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started on this one. Also, just so you know, I am going to be using the So Sincere stamp set today because it's got some great Thanksgiving, autumn, Thanksgiving type sentiments. The So Thankful for You and your kindness is so appreciated. And I just love the script on these. So we're going to be using that stamp set today. We're also going to be using the Something Fancy for this card to cut out our sentiment. And this is a great one to use. It's got a lot of fun shapes to it and tag type shapes. But I think if you needed to have a particular, just if you had only money to buy one die set that had shapes on it, I would say our Stylish Shapes is one of those go-to timeless ones. It's got 4 sizes of each shape. You've got the banner shape, you've got the circle, and you've got the squares. And you've got, well, you got 4 of the banners, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles and 5 squares. And these are, I mean, I use these all the time. These are constantly being used. Matter of fact, I have to remind myself that I have other shapes sometimes to use. So we're going to be using those dies today. And yeah, that's it. So let's go ahead and get the stuff out to make this card. I'm going to pull out my card base is all the little pieces. My card base is going to be crushed curry. Oops, I'm going to set this off to the side here so you can see what we're doing. Crushed curry, and it is an 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, just your standard size card. And we're going to go vertical so it opens like a book from left to right. Left, no, it goes right to left. It opens right to left, but we read left to right. Sorry. Anyway, and what we're going to do is we have, oh, I'm going to show you a tip with this real quickly on cutting. We're going to use crushed curry as one of our colors in our cardstock. We are using Very Vanilla because that is the perfect color to use in fall colors. It's warmer than your basic white, so it goes really well with these warm colors that we use for fall. And here is the tag we'll use. That's going to be the inside. We're going to use this small piece. It's only a 1/2 inch wide of DSP to go on the inside of our card. This piece here is 1 1/4 by 5.5, and we'll trim it after we apply it to our card base. And this is 4 1/4 by 1.5. And then this one is going to be cut into actually 2. I'm going to show you a little tip here on what I do when I have thin pieces to cut. I use Post-it flags, which I never really knew about until my friend Patty introduced them to me. And what I do is I put it on here. So what we need is we need 2 pieces of DSP that are going to be a 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches. And let me do this first. So what I do is I do if I have to do small cuts like this or thinner cuts, I like to put the paper on, and then I just use the Post-it flag to hold it down so that I can cut my paper. And now I have my 2 half pieces, and they're not moving around while you're trying to put the lever down. So anyway, and the other thing I was going to show you real quickly, actually, I'll try and remember to do this. Remind me. I'll share another tip I learned from another friend who's a fellow stamper that helps me with stuff when I'm working with my DSP. So let's go ahead and let me get my silicone mat, and we're going to go ahead and let's burnish this. Excuse my arm. I'm gonna burnish this so it's nice, and I'm gonna get a couple of things out, my glue, my scissors. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put this first strip about 1/2 inch in. And what I like to do, I use my grid paper for this, is I'm going to line up the fold on 1 inch mark, and then I'm gonna go ahead and measure over 1/2 inch, and then I've got this 1/2 inch down. Oh, you guys can't see that. Let me move this up. So sorry. Amazing tip. Which tip? Oh, the Post-it one? Oh, thank you. All right, so now you guys can see what I'm talking about here on using my grid paper. I have my fold on the 1 inch mark, or the 6 inch mark, but it's on 1 inch mark. And I'm going to go ahead and put my first piece of DSP right here. So let's go ahead and we're gonna use, I think we're gonna use our Stampin' Seal first instead. So we're gonna put our Stampin' Seal on, and then we're gonna lay this down, but I'm gonna measure it so it's 1/2 inch in. And there we go. So that's 1/2 inch in, and then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna skip 1/2 inch, and then we're gonna go another 1/2 inch so that we have some even measurements. Sometimes I eyeball it, sometimes I'm not very good at eyeballing it. So let's go ahead and put this down. And let's see. All right, so we're gonna go 1/2 inch here. And another tip, what I do is if I'm putting strips like this on here, I always make them longer than my card base, because without a doubt, it always happens. If I cut it exactly, there's some reason it's slightly off, and then it's either a little too short, and that drives me crazy. So, all right, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take our 1 1/4 inch by 5 1/2, and I'm gonna wait another 1/2 inch, and then we're gonna put this on here. This is looking like it might be a little crooked. Oh my. Well, that's the beauty of handcrafted cards. Not everything is perfect exactly how it is. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. We're gonna put that one on there. And we're gonna measure it 1/2 inch. We're gonna go up. There we go. So now we've got our pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim those off. I'll open up the card. And Patty also told me about these really cool titanium nonstick scissors, which I use instead of using my really good snips, because even though I try and clean off the snips, it doesn't always get 100% of the sticky off of them. Excuse my arm. And then it sort of ruins the snips. So I went ahead and bought these off of Amazon. So we'll go ahead and cut these edges off. This way, they're the exact length. You don't have any shortness whatsoever to the, it doesn't fall short of the card base itself. All right, so now I went ahead and I have to admit, when I saw this, the first thing I thought of is our Eyelet 3D embossing folder. So I had to pull that in a little bit. So I went ahead and I cut a piece of Cajun Craze, and I wasn't going to use it. First I used the crushed curry on this one, but I really like the idea of the other color popping off of it. But we're going to do use some linen thread, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to color it. All right, I want it to be, actually, you know what, I think if I was going to color it pumpkin pie, but I think because I went with the darker Cajun Craze, I think the pumpkin pie might, or not the pumpkin pie, the pecan pie might be a little too dark. So I'm actually going to leave this as is. And I've always figured, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time tying bows. So what I do is I look at what the length is if I'm going to wrap this around, and this is 4 1/4, and I'm going to double that and then add 2 inches. That should give me enough that if I have to trim it, I can trim it, but that at least gives me enough to play with. So let's see, 4 1/4 times 2 would be 8 1/2 plus 2, that's 10 1/2. So I'm going to go 10 1/2 inches. Another good reason to have, actually, looking at this, I might go 11 1/2 inches. I might double it and then add 3 inches. Better be safe than sorry. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and oops, hopefully that's not in the way. One of the cords started falling. All right, I'm going to cut this, and we're going to put this linen thread to the side because I'm going to use it for my other. Did I not? Uh-oh. Did I cut it right? I didn't quite cut it at 11 1/2 inches. So we're going to see how this works. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn it over. And I want the bow to be, we may have to cut. Yeah, we're going to have to cut more. I don't know what happened on that one. That measurement was way off. I'm going to go ahead and say double it. So it's 8 1/2. And then I'm going to add, you know what, I'm going to add 5 inches. I'm playing this one. And this is one of those things I'm just trying to figure this out now. So we're going to add 5 inches, and that should give me more than enough. So good thing I have more thread coming in tomorrow. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach it down here, and I'm going to try and, I don't do this very often. I think I'm going to want the longer side to be on my right so that we can tie this. So that looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over real quick, and I've seen a few other Stampin' Up! Demonstrators do this, and I thought, ooh, that's a good idea. Just take a little bit of Scotch tape and tape it down like that. Now we've got it secure, and I'm going to go ahead and tie my bow, and we'll see how well this goes. I'm going to do it on about the other, let's see. We're going to see. No promises. I have thick fingers. Oh, see, thinking that might have not been long enough. How did I do it last time? Because I don't think I cut it this, maybe I made it longer than I realized. I didn't measure it last time. Bad Jenny. So let's see if we can do this one more time. Tammy, I know how much you love to tie bows on lives. Anyway, yeah. All right. All right, I'm going to try this one more time. 3rd time's a charm, right, folks? I don't know about you guys, but this is why I always do faux bows. All right. You know what? I saw somebody do a tip here one time where you take your tweezers, and I don't have the Stampin' Up! Ones, but you have these offset tweezers, and you hold it like this. And I have the old ones from my daughter's old Cricut because she never used them, so I hijacked them. Let's see if we can do it this way, because then it's something holding the center. I have fat fingers, which is why bow making is made for people with skinny fingers. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. All right. Oh, that worked. All right. So we've got a bow. Let's see if we can tighten it a little bit. All right. Oh, that looks good. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'm going to say it's a win because we got it stuck. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this to our card base. There we go. Attach that to our card base. And then we're going to go ahead and take our something fancy die, and it's in very vanilla, and I'm going to use Cajun Craze. Hey Nell, how are you? Welcome. And yep, so thankful for you. Welcome to my fun Friday, Nell. Although I have to say, I can't say tying bows is all that fun, but anyway. All right, we're gonna go ahead and center this on here. Oh, I'm loving the Cajun Craze. I'm glad I went with that. And we're gonna go ahead and use a couple of dimensionals. Let's see, I'll cut this one. I hope you're having a good day now. We're gonna go ahead and put this here. And this dimensional will also help secure the twine as well, because it sticks right on it. So we'll go ahead and do this, tuck it under there a little bit. All right, so thankful for you. And what works out perfect with this is I'm going to use what has become one of my favorites in terms of embellishments. You don't do bows, bow maker. Ooh, I may have to invest in one of those. I love the pecan pie and clear ribboned adhesive backed dots. These are some of my favorite. And I used pecan pie on this one. I might go ahead and use pecan pie again. They're in there snug. They don't want to come out. Oh, there we go. So I'm trying to think, do I want to go clear or pecan pie? Lazy Friday, dogs to the groomer and then parked in my recliner. Nice. Our dog is finally home after being at the doggy doctor for several days. And so he's just kicking back over here by me. We're going to go with what do you guys think? Pecan pie? Let's see. Oh, I forgot. What did I say I used to do? I used to do this. Yes, we're going to go pecan pie, but we're going to do the smaller dots. We'll do one right there and one right there. And you know what? Yeah, no, that's what we're going to do. All right. So there is, oh, not done with our first card yet. Silly me, I forgot the inside. We're going to zhuzh up the inside. Move this stuff away. And we're going to put some, I'm going to use my glue on this one, Tom. You know what? I don't use it very often, and every time I use it, I'm amazed at how much I really like it. So I need to use it more. Matter of fact, I might review some of my cards that I have for my next class and maybe switch it up a little bit and see if I can find somewhere I can use Cajun Craze on instead. All right, let's go ahead and put this on here. And we'll tighten it up. There we go. Right up against the edge. And we'll go ahead and cut the pieces that hang over. And a little bit of Tom. Now, Tammy, you guys have got me saying that. A little bit of Tom. And we'll put it on the inside of our card. And are you guys ready for more warm-up that's going to be happening in the next couple of days? All right, there is card number 1. What do you guys think? I really like the Cajun Craze over the crushed curry. I mean, that's pretty. And to get this linen thread, this color, I actually colored it with my dark pecan pie Stampin' blend. And I'll tell you, these are amazing. The more and more I use Stampin' blends, the more and more I'm hooked, the more and more I want to order them all. So I'm slowly adding to my stash of Stampin' blends. So, all right, let's go ahead and we'll move on to card number 2. I've been enjoying the fall weather too, but I don't know about out there, but here, thanks, Nell. I'm glad you like my card. We always have that one last warm up where it gets to be really, really hot. And then we know that once that's passed, we're on to fall weather. And I think this weekend is going to be that warm up. But then again, you never know. Mother Nature could be messing around with me. All right, here's our next cards we're going to do. This one is just like the one from Stampin' Doc, the Stamp Doc, Melissa Stout. But what I've done is I've turned it sideways. And so let's go ahead and do in this one. We're using Old Olive as our card base. We're using Old Olive as our card base. 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. Just our standard card. Let me burnish this. But this one we're gonna have opening this direction. And then let's see, we've got our 4 pieces, and our 4 smaller pieces are cut to a size of 2 inches by, each one is 2 inches by 2 5/8, I believe is what it is. Yes, 2 5/8. So when you put them together, it actually forms a 4 by 5.25 piece. And I'm going to show you my, I've used this tip before, and I'm going to show it to you again. I take a piece of scratch, white or whatever color, because nobody's going to see it, paper, cardstock, and I cut it in half, or I make it a little bit smaller, and then I'm going to use it to build my 2 pieces that go together so that I can line them up better. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and use our very vanilla for our inside. We're going to use the Cajun Craze with the leaf veins on it in there, and then we've got our twine that we're going to use, and we're going to use the crushed curry from the adhesive backed Dots for Days. So Dots for Days, adhesive back. So let me go ahead and set those off to the side a little bit and move some of this aside so that we can put this card together. All right, put that up there. Let's move this stuff around a little bit. I do have to die cut, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to die cut with the my little mini boho blue embossing machine. So let's go ahead and put this stuff where I can find it after I pull that up there. Uh-oh, I must miss something with the, let's see. There we go. All right, so what are we gonna do first? We're gonna put these together first. And you know what's fun is if you cut, what I did is I cut 2 sheets, one of this paper, because this DSP has the green on the back, and then one of this, and that's the one with the animals on the back. And I cut a whole piece of each DSP to be 5.25 by 4 inches, and then I layered them on top, almost like you do for a stack and cut, or stack and stamp cut. Yeah, stack stamp. I think that's what it is. Stack, cut, and stamp. But I did that, and then you can come out with 2 cards when you do that, because you use 4 pieces. So that's how it's going to appear. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn these over and butt them together. Move these off to the side. We're going to butt these together like this. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to just put a strip of adhesive right down the middle. I'm going to make sure these are butt up next to each other, and I'm going to just put this on the back. And that holds those 2 together, so it's easy to work with and make sure they align. And now I'm going to do the same thing on this one, and I want to make sure when I'm doing this, because I want the same die cut or DSP to be kitty corner from each other. So I want to make sure that I put this down next to it and then turn it over so I have the right die cut squares or rectangles next to each other. All right, let's go ahead and, oops, I might bump that a little bit. All right. So now we've got our 2 larger rectangles, and we're going to attach that to our card base. So let's go ahead and put a little Stampin' Seal. Oop. a little bit there, a little sticky there, and my fingers are really sticky. All right, we're gonna measure it, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure it, or I'm gonna look at this corner here and try and line this corner up so that it is, yes, this kind of layout would work beautifully with Christmas. So, oh, thank you for the idea, Nell. And then you try and get them so they're both about 1/4 inch there. And it looks like it's about even. Without putting my head in the camera, that looks pretty even. And then we'll do this side. Now, if it doesn't all mesh up right here perfectly in the center, don't worry, because guess what? Our sentiment is going right over it. So we'll go ahead and do that. A little bit there and there. And let's go ahead and now line this up so it forms a checkerboard look. All right. All right, perfect. And roll that, rub it down a little bit. And now what we're going to do, we're going to set this off to the side because we're going to do our sentiment. And our sentiment, you need a piece of vanilla, very vanilla, that is about 5.5 inches by 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 inches. I just cut it a little bit big so it makes it easier to stamp and then die cut. So let me get my stylish shapes. We're going to be using this larger banner, and we're going to use the stamp that says "Your kindness is so appreciated" and Old Olive. So let's go ahead and get this stamped. We'll sort of stamp this, get some, yep, that's all inked up, sort of in the center. All right, great. Set that stamp aside so I don't get my fingers in it or set a card in it. And another usage of those postage or the Post-it flags is to hold your paper down or your die down on your paper to cut it. Now, some people use washi tape. My problem is every time I've used washi tape personally, it sticks and it rips the paper. So I've avoided using washi tape and I've gone back to the Post-it. So let's go ahead and set this on our thing. We're going to set this up and do the E. So our 2 is just below our 1. And then we're going to set this 2 so it goes right over the 1. And we'll put it in the machine. And, ooh, hopefully it doesn't rattle the table too much. All right. And we have our sentiment right there. So let's put this back on, put that aside so I don't knock it off the table, and we'll bring this back around. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our linen thread, and I think I had a piece cut, and it might be just long enough. If not, no worries. Let's see. This might be long enough. I'm going to wrap it a few times, like around 3 fingers. And is that going to give me enough? Nope, that's not going to give me enough. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and put a little Stampin' Seal in the center. And then we're going to lay our thread, it's not twine, it's thread. So we're going to put that down there and zigzag it across. And this should be in the center. There we go. And then we're going to put some Stampin' Dimension foam sheets. We'll cut those in half and put them on each side. There we go. There we go. I don't know what I'd do without Stampin' foam sheets or Stampin' dimensionals. And then we're just going to set that right over the center. Try and center it. There we go. And we've got our twine or thread or linen thread right there. And let's put a couple of, I set them somewhere so they wouldn't get lost, and now, oh, there they are. Our adhesive dots for days. Move some of this out of the way. I tell you, I'm a little scattered-brained right now, and I don't know why. But we'll put a couple of our crushed curry ones on here. All right. I know they usually say go in 3s, but when it's something like this, I think 2 looks better, to be perfectly honest. It's a balance thing for me. Now let's go ahead and adhere this. We're going to put our DSP that coordinates on the bottom. Let me make sure I cut this down. I believe I did. Let's see, 5 1/4 by 4. Yep, it's cut down for the middle. We're going to put a little bit of glue at the base. A little bit of our Tombow, and we're going to do, so make sure it's even along the bottom. And then let's go ahead and cut the edges off. I don't know, the more I'm working with this old olive and the Cajun craze together, I really, really love it. I'm not sure about you, but I really love the Cajun craze, and I love the touches of crushed curry. Crushed curry is a little bit much for me as a main color, although it did work well in the other card, but I prefer it more as an accent color. All right, let's put this down. All right. And we'll put that in the center. And there is our card number 2. So tell me what you think. There's card number 1, card number 2. Actually, let me go ahead. I'm going to share with you guys that one other tip that I told you I was going to share later. And what I like to do, and I'll show you with, let's see. Yeah, what I like to do, it's not dinner time, Bo. My friend Bo is sitting here looking at me, but I told him it's not dinner time yet. He still has 20 minutes. He gets dinner at 5:30. But what I like to do, and I got this idea from my friend Marcy, who used to be a demonstrator. I don't know if she's still with it. I haven't talked to her in a while, but she had said that she always cuts all her 12 by 12 into 6 by 6. I don't cut all my 12 by 12 into 6 by 6 because sometimes I may need 12 inches or something more than 6 inches. But I do like to take, since we get multiple pieces of multiple sheets of each pattern, I like to take at least one of those and I cut it into a 6 by 6. So then I have 4 pieces 6 by 6 of that color or that pattern. And let me show you what I found. Did you know that if you keep on the trimmer the piece the arm that extends out, if you keep it all the way in and it's connected, it's clicked in and it's not going anywhere, if you butt this all the way up there, it is about 6 inches. So I just go ahead and throw mine in there and I go 6, I got to cut it there, and then I turn my 6 by 12 180 and I butt it up against there again and I cut it, and now I've got 4 6 by 6s. And the beautiful thing about this is that when your cards are 5 1/4, that means it's only 3/4 of an inch shorter than one of these pieces of paper. So all I have to do is cut my piece that I need. That's supposed to be 5 1/4. I just have to cut it however wide it needs, and it gives me just a little bit of hangover to cut to make sure that I have the perfect size when putting it on the inside of my card, or like I did on this first card when I had to go top to bottom. Otherwise, it's hard to cut. And I don't always get, I don't know about you guys, but I don't always get my cuts exactly perfect when I'm cutting my DSP. It might be off by 1/8 of an inch sometimes, and that drives me crazy. But anyway, so that's a little tip for today. Let me know, which card do you like better? I've got actually only 2 cards, but one's got 2 different colors here, and then I've got this one. I would love to know which one's your favorite. Is it my vertical card with the crushed curry and the linen thread? Well, they all have crushed curry and they all have the linen thread. Is it the one that has the eyelet embossing folder, or is it the one that is like a 4-panel card? You vote both, Patty. You know, I like them both, but if I had to pick one, this is my favorite. I just love how this flows together. This one's cute, but like I said, I'm not big. Crushed Curry isn't my favorite color. It's not my go-to color, but it is becoming more of a go-to color for, you guess, eyelet. This with the, yes, this one's, if I had to choose between these two, this is my favorite because I love the Cajun craze with the eyelet. And I love how the eyelet matches this design. I don't think they had that in mind, but I love how it made, this is the first thing I thought of, was that eyelet embossing folder. Nell likes the 4-panel one. Yes, you love the layouts on both of them. Yeah, I'm going to play with these layouts a little bit more. I really do like this layout. So I'm excited to go and play some more, especially tomorrow. Tomorrow my free shipping package arrives, and I can't wait to play with all the stuff in there because I've got a bunch of goodies. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me today on Fun Friday. Next Fun Friday is going to be a fun one. It's our mystery stamping. And then if I have my dates correct, I may have one, I do have one more Fun Friday before I'm gone for a week. There is 1 week that I won't be live in about 2.5 weeks because my daughter and I are flying to Texas, and we're going to go visit a few schools for her to go into radiological medicine technology. She's going to be the kind of person that goes, when you have to get an x-ray, she's the one that's going to take your picture. Or if you're doing an MRI or a CAT scan, her love is to do those kind of things. So we're going to look at a couple schools out there, and it just so happens that they're all real close to my sister. So we're going to be able to visit some family while we're out there. So in about 3 weeks, I won't be doing lives, but I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated on that one. So anyway, have a great week. And we will see you next week for Teach It Tuesday on Tuesday with Tammy and Jenny. And then Fun Friday next Friday. Have a great weekend, you guys. Bye-bye.